Good day, everyone. My name is Chetan Ramlal, and I'm the head of quantitative research in the Stanlib Systematic Solutions team. On behalf of my team, we are very privileged to have been nominated in the Evolutionary Awards, and I'm really happy to be able to share a few words with you today on the journey that we've been on. So I'd like to start by sharing a quote by the famous scientist Albert Einstein. He said, "In life, two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity." And I'm not so sure about the universe. And what Einstein meant by this is that, let's say, we as humans tend to make mistakes. And sometimes the decisions we make tend to be questionable. And in recent years, the talk around artificial intelligence, the boom in technology, all of these amazing and interesting advancements and developments that we've seen has spurred the conversation to, are we going to destroy ourselves? Is this AI going to take over and obliterate what we know as humanity? And I would say, in this case, definitively no. What we have been able to create is truly something remarkable, revolutionary. And of course, as with all new technologies, there are risks. But it really sets up a new frontier for all of us as humans, a new frontier for what we can achieve with this technology. Of course, if it's governed and controlled and carefully monitored. But really, the world is our oyster. So this sort of links to what we as a team have been on over the last few years, the journey that we've taken, how we have evolved, and how we've seen this technology impact the world of financial services and particularly investment management. And that's really the problem statement that we've come upon, where the question is, how do we now ensure that our investment process is still and truly future fit and still able to deliver the outcomes for clients that we want, to deliver the returns we need for clients, but do so within the bounds of this data and technologically driven world? And that's really the question that we've tried to answer. So let me take you and share with you a small story. Imagine you are trying to cross the ocean and you're trying to go from South Africa to another continent. How would you do it? If you had to take a little boat, let's say a little rowing boat, as you'd imagine, there'd be many challenges. How do you navigate the rough waters, the big waves, the obstacles in the way? If a hole appears in the bottom of your boat, how do you get by? If you have only an oar to move the boat with a little sail, is that enough to get you to your destination? So these are real challenges that one could think about. Naturally, if you sort of had to think on the other side of the equation, what if you had a large cruise ship, something that had engines that powered it, that wasn't able to get little holes, that was easy and able to navigate the rough waters, the big waves, the strong tides? Surely and naturally, this would be the technology that would work. And very similarly, this is how you could think of the world of investment management and the journey that we've been on over the last few years. In that analogy of the small sailing boat, it simply is enough. A spreadsheet is prone to error. A spreadsheet is prone to finger trouble. That's where mistakes happen. How do you store all the amount and all the data that one comes up with in the process? Over the last few decades, the amount of data we've seen in the world has exploded. So teams need the ability to store this data, harness this data, and then get insights from this data. So in this rowboat and sailing boat analogy and cruise ship analogy, what we realized a few years ago is that we had to transition from a world of paddling with oars, paddling with a little sail and trying to cross the ocean, to going to a world where we build a cruise ship, where we have got the best-in-class technologies, the infrastructure, the tools to manage the data, to also allow us to get insights on this data, and also ensure that we can truly get valuable insights that will help us better deliver those returns for clients. So, as I said, we've moved from a world where spreadsheets ruled the roost. We moved to a world of coding architecture. So these are software engineering best practices to set up databases, to store and save data. What we also found was that spreadsheets were simply inefficient. By moving to a code-based system, now we could collaborate with team members, we could share code, do more complex tasks, and also ensure that the speed of computation was improved. What this also allowed us to do was open up and explore and research new frontiers. For example, the limitations of a spreadsheet could now be overcome by moving our process to the cloud. Now we could, for example, do rigorous research on things like global indices, on global fund type performance. So what it has done has really opened up this new realm of possibility. And as I've mentioned, tools had to have changed. Simply moving away from a laptop, which we all know and we all are used to, has been a huge step for the process. Now we are able to leverage the power of the cloud. And what we've spent a lot of time over the last few years building is sophisticated cloud infrastructure that allows us to store and manage our data and also test new investment strategies. And this has really unlocked a new frontier for us. So the team has really been molding ourselves, growing, evolving with the technology, because we are really trying to answer that question. How do we remain future fit in this world of change? And how do we keep delivering returns and results for clients in this world that's so rapidly evolving? So our flagship fund, as an example, the Stanlib Enhanced Multi-Style Equity Fund, has been consistently one of the top performing equity funds in South Africa. And over every rolling 3-year period since inception, the fund has delivered 100% hit rate. And what this talks to is consistency in returns through various market cycles. It's this robustness, it's this persistence in performance that's really what's so important. Combined with that, the uniqueness of our process has ensured that the returns or the alpha that we've generated is uncorrelated to that of other equity peers, which also is a very important factor to consider. If I look at the team, I'm so proud to be part of this team because over the last 5 or 6 years, we've almost doubled our assets under management, which I think talks more to the fact that the market has realized what we are bringing to the table from an investment process perspective, and how our embracing of technology really is the way of the future. So with that, I thank you, and I want to just sort of leave you with this lingering thought of the great Steve Jobs, who once said, "Technology alone isn't enough. It needs humanity. Otherwise, you get beautifully designed nonsense." So with that, I thank you. I want you to think of this combination of man and machine. This is the future we're moving towards. It's an exciting future. And really the question to ask is, are your investment managers embracing this future? Are they evolving and moving with the times? Because that's really where the success will lie. And once again, thank you for your time, and we hope to engage soon.